everybody, Penny here. Welcome to my kitchen. So today we are going to do my recipe for banana bread. And I came up with this recipe to be diabetic friendly. So I don't have all the fat content and whatnot, but what I can tell you is I did work out the carbs. And one banana bread is 12 servings, and each serving would be approximately 1.5 carbs. Now, if you cut out the sugar and you use Splenda or stevia or another artificial sweetener that you like, you would reduce that to 1 carb per serving. So we're making a double batch today, and with a double batch, you can either make 2 banana breads, and I've already greased this particular pan, or you can make a 1 tube pan of banana bread and, slice it more like a cake, which might be nice if, if you're having someone over and, you don't really want a dessert, but you want something you can have with a cup of tea. That's quite lovely. You would also have to grease this, and I would also flour this one, because 2 pans can be a little more difficult to get the cake or the bread to come out of the actual pan. Or you can do 12 muffins. So the oven is preheated to 325, and because it's a double batch today, we are going to do 1 banana bread and 1 pan of muffins. The banana bread will stay in the oven for approximately 1 hour. The muffins will stay in the oven for approximately 20 minutes, both at the same temperature, so they can both go in at the same time. Sometimes when I'm doing a single batch and I'm going to make muffins, I will half the sugar again and put in a little more than half a cup of chocolate chips, which is, a special treat. So that's what we're doing today. I'll just lay those out of the way. So, like I said, it's a double batch, so these measurements are all going to be in a double batch size. So what we have here is 1 cup of butter, and then we will have 1 cup of sugar. So that's half a cup of sugar per banana bread. You could half that again, or like I said, you could substitute it with your favorite artificial sweetener, or you could half it and use honey instead of sugar. So instead of a half a cup per banana bread, you would use a 1/4 cup of honey. Different flavor. However, honey does break down in your system slower than sugar. So if you like the flavor of honey, same amount of carbs, but you won't get as much as a sugar rush from the banana bread. Or you could use agave instead of the honey. Again, a 1/4 cup. They tend to be sweeter than regular sugar. So that's the butter and the sugar. Now we're going to have 4 eggs. And in the 4 eggs, I'm going to be adding 2 teaspoons of vanilla. In almost any baking recipe that you have, you can half the sugar and add 1 teaspoon of vanilla, or double the vanilla that's already in there. Those are options as well to reduce the sugar in your baking. So we're going to just give these a quick whisk. We're not looking for them to necessarily add a lot of air, but you do want to beat them a little bit. Okay. So that is the eggs. I'm going to put that in with our butter and sugar. That all nice and incorporated. That's not bad. Now we're going to add our bananas. A lot of recipes call for you to do alternately the dry ingredients, then a little bit of banana, then a little bit of the dry ingredients, a little bit of banana. But what I like to do is add the bananas to the wet mixture. And in here we have 6 overripe mashed bananas. And then I fold in my dry ingredients so we're not over mixing and it doesn't become tough. Okay. There we go. That's all of our wet ingredients. Now, in here we have 2 cups of white flour. 1 cup of whole wheat flour. Then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of ground flaxseed. It's really important that it's ground flaxseed because your body can't really break down the whole flax seeds, and they're super, super healthy for you. They're full of fiber. They bump up the protein, which of course helps stabilize your sugars a little bit. Again, I'm not a nutritionist by any stretch, but I do have diabetes, and so this is a recipe I developed for myself so that I could have my favorite food, as often as I would be allowed to, so to speak. All right, so then we have, 4 teaspoons, of baking powder. We have 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt. And that's just the dishwasher beeping. Caitlin turned the dishwasher on earlier, which is always lovely. And let me get a fork. All right. So my little whisk is dirty from the eggs, so I'm just going to use a fork, or you can use a spoon, to mix the dry ingredients together so that all the salt and everything is as evenly as incorporated as we can possibly get. So another note with the flaxseed is I normally buy a big bag at Costco and then put it in the freezer. It won't freeze solid. It's a resealable bag. You just dip in your measuring cup, take out what you want. You can throw it in pretty much any muffin. There's no real taste to flax seeds. You can sprinkle a teaspoon or so over your cereal, add it to yogurt, and it really does bump up the fiber, the protein, and is full of omega-3 acids for heart health and brain health and all that good stuff. So it does last for a very long time if you keep it in your freezer, which I do. Okie dokie. So we're going to put all this in. And then we're going to fold it. So folding, remember, is not stirring. It's going around the sides, up and over, underneath, around the sides, up and over. It does take a few minutes, but it's very gentle on your dough and doesn't produce a tough cake or banana bread, or muffins in this case. The other thing you could always add to banana bread is chopped nuts. So while that will increase your fat content, it's healthy fats, and it will also increase your fiber and increase your protein, which again helps to balance your sugars. There we go. We're almost done. So if you were going to add per banana bread, if you were going to add some nuts, I would add about a 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. Okay, so she's incorporated. Now we're going to do our 12 muffins. And how I load up my 12 muffins is an ice cream scoop. And this happens to be a 3 tablespoon ice cream scoop. And the little part that goes back and forth when you squeeze it is very difficult to see. I had to get a magnifying glass. But this is a 3 tablespoon, and it'll be written in there, the measurement of your ice cream scoop. So I normally take a bit of a heaping, so it's probably closer to 4 tablespoons, and in she goes. There we go. So we're going to fill those up, and then we are going to also fill up our banana bread loaf. And this way, your muffins tend to be quite even in size and nice and rounded on the top. And like I said before, quite good with chocolate chips. I don't know how diabetic friendly they are then, but it's a nice little treat. Okay, almost done. Now if you don't want to use white flour and you wanted to use all whole wheat flour, by all means, not a problem. That is very good too. Okay, so there's all the muffins. So they're going to go in the oven for about 20 minutes, maybe 25, depending on how high you fill them up. And now the rest of the batter is going in our banana bread tin. There we go, you can still see me. There. I can't scrape too much because Barry likes to lick the bowl. So, you know, gotta do what you gotta do, right? Okay. So, these are going in the oven. When they come out of the oven, let your muffins sit in the tin for a good 5 minutes and let your banana bread sit in the tin for a good 10-15 minutes before you take it out and put them on a cooling rack to cool. That helps the dough just to settle down and stay nice and firm afterwards. So I'm putting these in the oven. See you shortly. Hi everybody, back again. I thought I'd show you what I'm working on while the banana bread is in the oven. So friends of ours, Andrea and Jay, who own the Live and Learn Center, also have a garden. So they brought me this huge zucchini. So I chopped up the zucchini. I also cut up an onion. I had a small acorn squash, 2 onions actually, and 2 carrots. So what I did was I chopped them all up and put some salt and pepper, some olive oil, a little dab of butter. Roasted these in the oven for about half an hour on 350. While that was in the oven, I then made some vegetable stock. So what you'll see in here is peels of onions, you'll see some green peppers, some carrots, some bay leaves, just whatever vegetables I was working on during the week. I put them in a bowl, in a little stock bowl, and put them in the fridge. Then at the end of the week, you boil them up with a little bit of salt, maybe some peppercorns, whatever you like, and you boil them for about a half an hour, and it gives you vegetable broth. You'll also see the onion skins, not just the actual onions. And the onion skins, of course, when you first bring them home, before you go to chop them, you take out the outer layer of onion skins. They go in the garbage. But the layer of onion skin that you peel off before you go to chop them, I keep those, and they add this beautiful golden color to your stock. So this is just vegetable stock. But if you wanted to keep these and throw them in with some chicken, then you can also make chicken stock, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do now is chop up some celery and fry that up in the stock pot with a little bit of oregano, salt and pepper. There's garlic in here as well, but you leave the garlic in the skins because once they're roasted, you just squeeze it out. See? You just squeeze out your garlic. If you didn't leave them in the skins, they would burn. So that's how you can get some lovely roasted garlic in your anything, really. So then a couple of teaspoons of fennel seeds and some oregano is also going to go in here. Then all of this is going to go in here. And then I'm going to strain in my vegetable stock. Let it go for, 5-10 minutes, bring it to a bubble. Then I'm going to put in about 3 tablespoons of rice. And then let it simmer away for about 20 minutes. And when the rice is cooked, basically the soup is cooked. So then what happens is cool it a little bit because you don't want to be hurt. You can either put it in a blender or you can use a stick blender like I have here, an immersion blender. Whiz it all up so it's nice and smooth. Add either like a half a lemon or a couple of tablespoons of white wine vinegar or regular vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and the rice thickens up the soup without having to add any extra cream or anything like that. And ta-da! There's supper. So I'm going to work on this while the banana breads are in the oven, and I'll see you shortly. Hi everybody, Penny back again. Okay, so everything is cooked. We've got our muffins, which are awesome. There's only 9 because we've already eaten 3. And then we have the banana bread. If you want your muffins to be a little browner, you can leave them in for a few more minutes. But that's the lovely banana bread. And like I said, that's 12 servings. Let it cool completely. And then I like to keep it in the fridge. I find a lot of baked goods are better in the fridge. They stay moister. Having that said, if you do substitute the sugar with a sugar substitute, then you really should keep it in the fridge, because those artificial sugars don't add moisture to your baking the same way actual sugar or honey or agave does, or molasses for that matter. But I don't think I'd put molasses in the banana bread. Who knows? So yeah, wrap it up, put it in the fridge, 12 servings if you're diabetic, and enjoy. And then we have the soup. I'm going to put that a little closer to the camera. So I whizzed it up with my immersion blender, and you could drizzle some olive oil over it, or you could do a dollop of sour cream or Greek yogurt, or you can, before I do that, you can add some crushed chili flakes if you like it spicy, and a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. Doesn't that look good? If you'd like the full recipe for that, let me know, and I can do it in a future video. So, I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope I covered everything. Have a great day. Enjoy. Bye.